We're now one step closer to a connected path along the LA River between Elysian Valley and Maywood. We have some new information about the LA River Path project, which we recently presented at our community meetings in May.
First, for those of you who may be new, we'll provide a quick overview of the project. Then we'll give an update on its status and schedule.
Next, we'll recap what we've heard from you in the community and how we've incorporated that information into our planning so far.
And lastly, we'll provide an overview of the 3 draft alternatives for this project.
We're going to keep it brief, but the full presentation from our community meetings is posted on the project website, so please check it out if you're interested.
So why are we doing this project? There's currently an 8-mile gap in the LA River Path.
The goal of this project is to close that gap with a safe and accessible path for walking, bicycling, and rolling. Once connected, there will be a continuous path between the valley and Long Beach.
We're still early in the process of developing this project and busy collecting as much public input as possible. Our next step is environmental clearance, where we study several alternatives and look at potential environmental impacts of the project. The goal is to complete construction before 2028.
Since last fall, we've been out in the community talking to you to understand how you interact with the river and how you'd use the future path. We hosted 9 community meetings, fielded surveys online and in person, attended many events in the community, and met with numerous community groups in neighborhoods along the river. To date, we've heard from thousands of you about this project. We asked about the project's goals, where you would want to access the path and your preferred path types. The majority of the input we've received is from neighborhoods directly touching the river in the project area.
We've heard from you in the community that accessibility, safety, and user experience are important. We've had great conversations about designing this path to accommodate users of all ages and abilities, and you've shared how important it is to have a path that's well-designed and well-maintained with features like lighting and shade.
We also asked you about places of interest in your neighborhoods and access points, which are where you can get on and off the path.
For the northern section of the path, you said LA State Historic Park was the most desired destination, along with other key access points on both the east and west banks of the river. In the middle section, First Street and Union Station were the sites of most interest, with lots of comments about connecting to 6th Street and 7th Street as well. In the southern section, Washington Boulevard near the Blue Line station was the place that most of you said you would want to access.
We also asked you about path types and received nearly 3,000 responses. The path types have a lot of influence on the user experience because they affect which features can be included and how reliable it will be for use in various weather conditions. Where the access points go influences the kind of path type that's possible because only certain kinds of path types are possible in certain areas of the river.
We expect to use a combination of path types for the LA River Path project. One of the challenges with the project is that the space at the top of the bank where a path would normally go is very tight because of nearby railroad tracks. Additionally, the path will need to be able to go over, around, under, or through a lot of existing structures, including 30 bridges.
We received the most community support for a top-of-bank path type, with 40% of you who gave us feedback selecting this as your top choice. This path type is at the ground level alongside the river. In the places where there isn't enough room at the top of the bank, this means creating a cantilevered structure, like a deck, out over the river. The top-of-bank option would be more likely to stay open during rain than other path types. This path type also provides the greatest opportunity to add amenities like landscaping, lighting, and other security features.
An elevated path is raised up on a new structure. This was the preferred path type for 32% of you who provided input. Similar to the top of bank path, an elevated path would be able to stay open when it's raining. Landscaping is unlikely on an elevated structure, but it would be possible to add lighting and other security features. This path type would also provide great views.
17% of you who gave us input preferred an incised path. This path type is cut into the side of the river channel and partially down the channel walls. This path type is commonly used to go under bridges. This path type would be open most of the time, except during heavy rains, and could accommodate lighting and some other amenities.
The final type we looked at is at the bottom of the channel, which was selected by 11% of you who provided input. This path type is near the water and provides the most access to nature along the river. But this path type would not be open during rain or even if rain is forecast because it would be underwater when water levels in the river go up. This path type also does not allow for lighting and other amenities. Access to and from the path would involve longer ramps from the bottom of the river up and over nearby rail lines.
We looked at all of this input with our technical evaluations of the area, considering our project goals and what we heard is important to you in the community as future users of the path. Based on that analysis, we identified 3 draft alternatives to be studied further. For these alternatives, we weighed your input on key destinations as well as characteristics for the path that we heard from you are important. All 3 alternatives transition across the river and include access points on both sides of the river. Many of the popular access points are the same across every alternative.
Alternative A adds 10 access points and has slightly more path on the east bank. It has sections that are elevated and incised, with the majority of the path at the top of bank.
Alternative B adds 12 access points and has slightly more of the path on the east bank. This alternative has just under half of the path incised, with elevated and top of bank sections.
Alternative C adds 11 access points. This alternative is evenly split between the west bank and east bank, with even amounts of top of bank, incised, and elevated path types.
For each alternative, we have also identified opportunities to enhance the path in the future if additional funding becomes available. These opportunities include more access points and a secondary path at the channel bottom along large portions of the LA River path.
All of this is posted in our full presentation on the project website. So please take a look if you'd like to see more detail on any of this information. And thank you for all of your input along the way. As always, if you have other questions or feedback, we want to hear from you. We have a lot of different ways you can connect to the project.